Hi, in this video you're going to learn 3 different ways to create an overlock stitch without a serger or overlocker. For the first option, I'm going to use my regular Brother sewing machine and the overcast presser foot that came with it. Before you start sewing, trim your fabric edges to make sure they are straight and as clean as possible. For this, you can use scissors or a rotary cutter that will definitely make the job easier and faster. In the Brother sewing machines, the overcast presser foot has a letter G on it and looks like this. If your sewing machine has the overcast stitches but you're missing the presser foot, don't worry because you can easily get it online. I'm going to leave the link of where you can find it in the description box below. Okay, so there are 3 different stitches to create an overlock stitch look-alike with a regular sewing machine. They are the ones with the numbers 6, 7 and 8. So let's see how the number 6 looks. And for this I will use a stitch length of 2 and a width of 3.5. As you can see, this presser foot has a longer side that we can use as a guide to help us sew right up against the edge of the fabric. By aligning the fabric with this guide, you can create the perfect overlock stitch that encloses the raw edges. And this is how this stitch looks when it's done. Now let's see how it looks with the stitch number 7, which is actually my favorite. For this, I'm going to select the stitch length of 2 and the width of 4. And just like I did with the past stitch, I trim the edge of the fabric, then place it aligned with the longer side of the overcast presser foot and start sewing. Once it's done, it looks like this. Now, if you want to take your overlock game to the next level using your regular sewing machine, then there is also this side cutter overlock presser foot that trims the edges while sewing. I haven't used it yet, but the reviews look really good, and it will save you the extra step of having to perfectly trim the edges before sewing. If you want to check it out, I will leave the link for this amazing little tool in the description box below. Now, if your sewing machine doesn't have any of those stitches, but it has a zigzag stitch, then here is another option. And well, since I still don't have that magical presser foot that I just showed you, for this alternative I also had to trim the edges first. Then I select the zigzag stitch that comes with the number 4 on my sewing machine. I use the length of 1.2 and the width of 4.5. For this, I'm using the regular zigzag presser foot. This presser foot doesn't have a guide like the overcast foot, so I have to be extra careful and make sure that the needle is stitching in and out of the edge of the fabric, because that's what will help us to create a finish that will enclose the raw edges. Then I select the straight stitch with a length of 3 to sew a stitch over the left side of the zigzag, like pretty much connecting the little triangles with a straight line. This will secure the zigzag stitch and will make it look very similar to an overlock stitch. The third option is by making an overlock stitch by hand. This is honestly a labor of love and patience because it is a longer process, but it definitely works. To start, I thread the needle like this and tie off the ends. Then, to make sure stitches are even, you can mark the sections of 1/4 of an inch along the edge of the fabric like this. But marking the fabric makes the process even more time consuming, especially if you are working on a big project. So, a little hack you can use is to mark on one finger the 1/4 of an inch spacing. The finger you will mark depends on how you hold your fabric. For example, I will be stitching using my right hand and will hold the fabric with my left hand like this. So the most comfortable way for me was on my left thumb. Having 4 or 5 marks instead of just 2 will help you to keep stitching without having to move your finger with every single stitch that you're making. And once you have the marks on your fabric or on your finger ready, insert the needle 1/4 of an inch away from the edge like this. Then pull the thread, but do not pull it all the way through. Stop pulling about 1 or 2 inches before the knot touches the fabric, so you can thread the needle through the loop where you tie the thread just like this. Then, using the marks on my finger as a guide, I insert the needle again 1/4 of an inch away from the first stitch. And then pull the needle, but again do not pull the thread all the way through and keep a small loop of thread out like this so you can pass the needle through that loop. Continue stitching, repeating this pattern until you reach the end of your fabric. To finish it off, on the last stitch, thread the needle through the loop twice, and then just trim off the excess tail and you are done. This is such a simple looking stitch, but as you can see, it does help to prevent the fabric from fraying. Check out what will happen if I try to do the same on the edge that has no stitching. So yeah, this little handmade stitching definitely helps. Now, if you are in a hurry, there is 2 no-sew alternatives that can help you to prevent your seam allowances from fraying like crazy. The first one is by using pinking shears. And as you can see, the fabric is still fray a little bit, but it is not that bad. Plus, I think it looks kinda cute. And a second alternative that I just found a couple weeks ago was this special glue called Fray, which is more like a quick little fix and probably not really to finish the seams of a whole garment, especially if you want to wear it like over and over again, but I still find it very interesting. If you want to check it out, I will leave the link of where you can get it in the description box below. Remember that anything that you desire, if you can imagine it, you can create it. Let me know in the comments below which of these overlock stitch alternatives was your favorite. If you plan to use the overcast stitches, maybe the simple zigzag stitch, or if you prefer to give the hand stitch or the pinking shears a go. Remember to subscribe for more videos, and if this tutorial was helpful, please share it with whoever you think will enjoy it too. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!